Hello everybody and welcome back to our channel, and for today's
Dear Sadie and P.
Yes.
We're
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna read
Let's do it.
Okay. We're gonna read more of your letters. And we have quite a few, so we're just gonna go like from the oldest to the newest. We're not gonna get through all of them, so if you've written to us, just be patient. It takes a while to get through all of them.
In the meantime, everything happens and our advice is not valid anymore and things like that.
Sometimes, yeah. Do you have your glasses? Because you're going to read some.
I'm gonna read?
Yeah.
Dear Sadie and P, my name is Dora and I'm writing to you from Europe. I recently came across your YouTube channel and I have been following your videos ever since. I admire your relationship and the love and respect you have for each other. I'm writing to you because I'm currently struggling with my own feelings towards someone. Her name is H. We have known each other for a while. I have developed strong romantic feelings for her. I'm having a difficult time figuring out what to do and how to approach the situation. I'm now 29 years old and she's 17 years older than me, which means she's 46 years old. I met her 8 years ago and since then I can't get her out of my head. 8 years ago. 8 years ago I decided to take English language classes since it's not my native language. That's when I met H, who became my private English teacher tutor. Before H, I was attracted to women, mostly my teachers, and had several crushes, but all my relationships were with men. However, H was different, and I was never attracted to anyone as much as to her. It wasn't her appearance that caught my attention at first, but her personality. I didn't fall in love right away, but I did after getting to know her better. I loved her kindness, sense of humor, smile, and everything about her. I'm a really introverted person, and that time I wasn't comfortable with people my age, especially when I was still in school. But when I was with H, I felt at ease, and it felt like we knew each other for a long time. Despite the 17-year age gap, it seemed like we were the same age, and she treated me like an adult. She encouraged me to speak my mind and not be embarrassed around her. It often felt like I wasn't in a lesson because she was so casual. She often told me funny stories and we laughed a lot. Time passed and I became more and more attracted to her. I didn't tell anyone about it and I knew nothing could happen between us since she was married and had a 4-year-old daughter. At that time, I was with my first boyfriend. Now I know that I wasn't attracted to him, but at that time, I didn't know what was wrong. Suddenly, I realized that I was thinking about H more than my boyfriend. Later, I found out that H is pregnant with another baby, and I knew for sure that I had no chance with her. However, my feelings were still strong. During our lessons, I became increasingly nervous and couldn't look her in the eye. I didn't know how to behave around her, whether to hide my feelings or confess them. Sometimes I felt like she felt the same way, but probably I have just been imagining it. For example, on one occasion I was answering an English question and she suddenly said, "You are cute." It was a cold day and she covered my shoulders with a blanket. I'll never forget that day because it felt so nice to have someone care about me. One day during our lesson, she asked me about my relationship and I accidentally used she in my sentence. She asked me if I had a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and she said she wasn't surprised about anything anymore. I told her that I had a boyfriend, but that it was just a mistake. She asked me what I thought about gay marriage. I said that I was accepting of it and had no problem with it. She explained that she wasn't very supportive of two women raising a child, at least not while they, the children, were still small. Then she asked me where my acceptance came from, and I was in complete shock. I couldn't answer her because I was so embarrassed. It was very unexpected for me, and this topic has never been brought up since then. Time passed, and I successfully passed my language exam. I also got a gift for H, my last class before saying goodbye. At that time, I suspected that it would be the last time we met. I decided then that I would never fall in love again without it being reciprocated. 8 years later. 8 years passed and I had 3 not successful relationships with men during that time. H was on my mind almost every day and I couldn't seem to get her out of my head. It became even harder when a few years later she added me on Facebook. My feelings for her were rekindled. and every time I posted something on my feed, she was always the first to view it. I felt like maybe, if just a little, she was still interested in my life. In 2020, I met my most recent boyfriend, but we broke up because H was still on my mind. I told him about her, and he suggested that I should get in touch with H again. So in the fall of 2022, I was job hunting and wanted to refresh my language skills. This was just the right time for me to contact her. However, I went to see her not primarily for this reason, but to finally tell her about my feelings that had been inside me for many years. I took a deep breath and messaged her. Fortunately, she had time for me, and she could teach me again. My heart was pounding when she messaged me back, telling me that I could come to her class. I was so nervous when I went to see her again after all these years. I had dreamed about this so many times, and I wondered if I still had feelings for her or if it was just a fleeting crush. My plan was to attend her classes for a few weeks, and then tell her about my feelings on the last day. The reunion after so many years was wonderful. It was as if no time had passed at all. She seemed genuinely happy to see me again, and she even said so. She smiled a lot, and we talked about what had happened in our lives over the years. Of course, she was still married. It was like talking to a long-lost friend. She also said that I hadn't changed at all, that I was still as youthful as ever. Hearing her voice and seeing her face again was even better than I remembered. I realized again why I fell in love with her all those years ago. And after all these years, I fell in love with her all over again. The classes were great as well. We talked a lot, and I told her about my personal life, my relationships, and how I was attending therapy. There were times when we talked about our life for an entire lesson. I also talked to her about my boyfriend and how I was probably going to break up with him. She supported me in everything and encouraged me to break up with him if I didn't love him anymore. During one of the classes, I suggested that we go out somewhere other than the classroom. She kindly agreed and suggested that we could go for pizza sometime. However, she said that she has been quite busy. I told her to call me when she had time. Finally, we managed to meet outside of class, but not in the way I had expected. His kitten had gone missing, and since I live nearby, I offered to help her find it. We spent the whole afternoon looking for the cat. I was very surprised because it was the first time I had seen H cry, and I didn't expect her to cry in front of me. I tried to comfort her, but unfortunately we couldn't find the kitten. However, I felt like we had become closer to each other, and felt like it's not just a teacher-student relationship anymore. I ended up going to her lessons more than I planned because I felt so good being around her, and I didn't have the courage to confess my feelings. Eventually, about some months before Christmas, I worked up the courage to tell her. The day before I was going to confess, she told me that she would be at her friend's house for Christmas, who happened to live next door to my parents. She offered to meet up and have a drink together if I wanted to. I was thrilled because I really wanted to see her on Christmas. So that day I decided to confess my feelings. We were talking about personal things when I brought up that I wasn't sure if I liked girls or guys. I told her that she was one of the first women that I had ever liked. H was a little surprised and asked if I had liked her recently or a long time ago.
Uh-oh.
I replied that it had been 8 years ago. I told her that I always felt comfortable around her and that I barely remembered what I said because I was so nervous. She told me that she had never been with a girl before and that she was straight. At least she had only been with guys before. She also mentioned that she acted differently in the lessons than in her personal life, where she is much more independent and cold. Looking back, I feel like I didn't express my confession very well because I didn't tell her everything, like how important she was to me. It's hard for me to express my feelings, specifically these feelings. During Christmas, she didn't text me to meet, and I wasn't sure if I should text her either because I didn't want to tell my parents that I was meeting her. They don't know that I'm bisexual, and I didn't want to tell them. So we didn't meet that day. We haven't talked or seen each other since the last lesson. And I think about her every day. I miss her not just as a romantic interest, but also as a friend. I don't know what to do because I feel like I can't move on. And I don't even know what she thinks about me and feels about me. I was the only one to feel that special connection between us. I'm considering reaching out to her and meeting her again to better express my feelings towards her. However, I'm also very scared because it makes me feel uncomfortable after I told her my attraction. Also, I don't want to put her in an uncomfortable situation since she's married and I want to respect that. But I feel I want to tell her my full story to move on. I don't even know what my question is at this point, but it would be really helpful if you could offer advice based on my story. Thank you so much for taking the time to read my message. Your videos have been a source of comfort and inspiration for me, and I appreciate all that you do. Thank you, Dora.
Wow. When was this? I want to see.
I don't know.
April.
April.
We're a little
sorry,
late.
sorry, Dora. Forgive us.
Yeah. What a story. That was like reading a novel.
Yeah.
Wow, I relate to that so hard. I don't know about you, but
I can relate as well. Do you wanna go first?
Okay.
Go first.
I mean, I relate to this so hard because I've had so many crushes on teachers throughout my life. Like, it was a theme. I would crush really hard. And I never told any of them, thankfully, but I knew they were all straight. And I didn't know I was gay at the time. Let's just put it that way. But in a way, it was good because if I had told them this is exactly what would have happened, it would have become really awkward and they would have distanced themselves. Because the thing is, with women, you can have really close, intimate friendships. You know, they're very open, they're very caring, nurturing, loving, amazing beings. But when you express that one-sided romantic interest, suddenly they have to like put a guard because it's almost like a guy confessing to them that they have a crush, especially if they're married, right? They immediately have to put up a wall, and it can be really hurtful when you had that deep connection. But it's good to acknowledge like the reality of the situation, that it is one-sided, because that's just the reality. It's one-sided. Yeah. And for me, what helped me move on from my crushes was just time and space. I mean, I got out of the school that I was in and I didn't see my crush anymore for many years. So that's how it went away. Or like another one, the same thing happens. I get out of the school, I don't see her anymore. And maybe it's just going to take a lot of time for you to get over it. I don't know if talking to her more is the answer necessarily, because it's not going to change much. Maybe it'll help you feel more closure. But this is kind of like the harsh reality of having crushes on straight women. It's tough. Yeah. What do you have to say?
I feel like there is a connection which is real, and because of what you feel, and also because of the fact that she was very vulnerable with you, meaning she called you to look for the cat, and that's really interesting story, and she cried with you. So that already, as you said, that was no longer the relationship between, like unconsciously maybe she's already discarding that, let's keep a relationship teacher student. She actually treated you as a friend that she can count on. So there is a connection, and it doesn't have to necessarily express itself and manifest itself into like a romantic relationship. It can be kept on the friendship level because of the fact that also you haven't forgotten about her in so many years, and you are with other people and you can't forget about her. So there is something there that needs to be explored, and it doesn't have to be a gay relationship. That's what I'm saying. So, and at the same time, you don't know if you're gonna scare her out if you say, I'm gay, I like you, and so on and so forth, because as you said, it's almost like a guy, trying to hit on you. So I would actually keep on calling her as she were your friend and say, hey, how are you? How's life? You wanna catch up? Let's go for a coffee. Let's go for a pizza, whatever, and let's catch up. And you make her understand that she's important for you as a friend. Like, you feel good around her. So whatever it is, cultivate it. It's also interesting for me that she said, oh, I'm not like that in real life. If I'm not mistaken, she says, I'm colder. Mm-hmm. She said that, which is very strange because she actually cried in front of you. Like, she needed a shoulder to cry on. So that struck me. That struck me as something, as a contradiction in a way. So for sure she has, ways of shielding herself, whatever. But and you respect that, but at the same time you have to respect this feeling of a connection, special connection you have with this other human being. So again, I encourage you to continue friendship.
If you're okay with that, like if you're okay with only ever being friends, because sometimes it can be painful if you have really deep feelings for somebody and it's one-sided, it's platonic. It's hard to keep them so close as a friend because you keep experiencing those feelings like in a really heavy way, and to not get that reciprocation is
only if you have that kind of expectation, though.
Because if you go it would be painful if I knew I was gay and like falling in love with this person who's never going to love me back. It's going to be a bit painful for me. Maybe it would be healthier to like move on with my life, try to find other, lesbians to become friends with, or maybe something can happen there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially since she's never had a gay experience before.
Yeah.
And she probably really wants to experience that kind of love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's also true. It can be that kind of situation where if you allow yourself to not to collect boyfriend after boyfriend, but start opening yourself up to be with a girl, maybe you'll
get over her.
Yeah, you'll get over that. Or she will keep on representing something for you.
I mean, I think that she's like a messenger in your life, and I've had these people, and you've had these people that just kind of come into your life and make you realize, oh well, wow, I'm really, really, really gay, and I wouldn't have noticed if it hadn't been for this person. But thank you, like that was their job.
Yes.
But it wasn't in the cards to maybe be in a relationship with them.
Totally.
I've had so many.
Yeah, I had one that really, like 7 years after, it's like, wow. And then finally I open up to the lesbian world and it happened, like, you have to open up to that and explore that.
And it can be kind of scary, but I think that the best way is to like find friends who are in the LGBT community, not necessarily just going on a date right away, just making friends in the community helps. And then maybe you'll be in the right circles to meet somebody. Yeah, I mean, I feel for you, I really do. I know the pain, and definitely stop getting more boyfriends. I think you need the feminine energy in your life, and this is a huge sign for you. Like, you have to listen to that sign, even if it's not with her. Yeah, thank you for writing to us. Yeah, and we'll do another Dear Sadie MP episode, and we'll post it really soon. So, yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.